guys, this is Ryan. Uh, this is I'm not really that big on these YouTube videos here, but basically, I ran into a problem where I was trying to migrate some WordPress sites over to a new VPS, and I kind of realized that the information is not that easy to find, and what I can find is pretty confusing. So I decided to make a pretty simple video here for everyone. Keep in mind that my setup for my server is going to be slightly different, but basically what I'm using is I'm using a CentOS 7 box. I'm using Nginx as my web server, and I am also using PHP FPM. And instead of MySQL, well, it's a generic MySQL, I am using MariaDB. So basically, the first thing you want to do here is on your old server, you basically SCP your files from your old box to your new box. So in my case, I am not connected to my servers. So I guess I need to give this a second here to time out so I can log back in. There we go. Let me get back in my old box. And there we go. Back in my new box. Now you don't have to change the root, but I tend to do that just because it makes life easier instead of having to type in sudo commands all the time. There is some security implications to that, as in you don't want certain things to execute as root. But in this case, at least in my case, the stuff that will execute, I've already installed under my regular user. So that shouldn't be a problem. So the first thing you need to do here is you need to SCP your file. So I guess I should show you the files, the sites I'm trying to use. So go to my web root really quick. Learn how to type. So these are the folders I have in my web root here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to migrate this folder right here. This is the website for my podcast. Now I already did this off camera, but I decided it's to pay forward and kind of show everyone how this is done. So I'll type the commands here, but I won't actually execute them. So what first things first, we're going to SCP var www or whatever your web root is, and you put your username, user at your server .com :bam. You hit that, it copies the files over. The next step here is another relatively simple step. The next step is to migrate your database. This one took a bit of doing to figure out how to do it, but it's pretty simple also. So I'm just going to type in a bunch of sudo commands. And by sudo I don't mean sudo as in the sudo commands for Linux. The sudo as in they're not real. So if you type this in exactly the way you see it, it will not work. Well, some of them will not work. Just because I don't want to expose too much. So basically you'd start with that. Now it's giving me an error, which is fine. But what basically you're gonna type MySQL dump, and just like if you're logging in, basically what you're doing here is you're telling SQL dump to basically you're basically telling you're telling SQL to export the contents of a database into a .SQL file, and then which pretty much look. I guess I could show you that. Let me see if I still have one over here. Yes, I do. Okay, so database.sql. So if I do, so there we go. Fifth down.sql. I'm sorry. So if I do cat, how to type. And you'll see it's just nothing but a bunch of SQL commands, but this also has all of my website's contents in it, which is this blob right here. And again, you just SCP this over to your server, and that is essentially it for the first part. Now the second part, you go over to your new server, and you put your folder with your web root that you SCP'd over, which is not here because I already did this, like I said. But what you essentially do at this point is you move that over to where you want it to be, and then you set your folder permissions on it. Now that I don't think I did. Let's see, ls. And I guess I did set the permissions on there. Now I'm not going to go through permissions and how to set that. I'm assuming if you guys are doing this, you know enough about Linux and how to do this. I'm also not a Linux guru, so don't take everything I say here as gospel. I'm a network admin. I should say, well, that's my old job. I'm a network engineer by trade. So Linux is not exactly my strong point. Anyway, I just figured I'd throw this together to give you guys a little bit of a hand here. So now we need to get our SQL to get our new SQL database here. We basically do the opposite of what we did before. So we do MySQL minus u and your username and your MySQL password, which I'm just gonna I'm sorry, so you don't put the password in here, it's just -p, which will prompt you for your password. And you need to put the name of your database, and like that. So the one thing before I hit execute here, before you can append this to the database, this database already has to be created in your MySQL server. So if you do it without it being created, then your SQL will basically throw you an error. So I'm just going to enter there, bang, that's it. So the database is all set up. Now, one more caveat here is that this basically only transfers your the contents of the database. It does not create a database user, so you need to do that manually. And I already have the commands listed here, so I'm just going to be pasting them in. So apparently I lied when I said I had already SCP'd these files over. So that's what you're seeing here. This site is about 3 years old, so there's a lot of content. So this will take a while, so I'm just going to pause and resume when I have everything copied over. So that's done. So I guess this kind of worked out a little bit. So so as you can see, that's the folder just SCP'd over here. So I'm just going to move it. move takes an option, so just do fifth down. I'm gonna move the folder to my web root. There's already a folder there, but that was not the correct folder. So now if I do this, bang, so that works. Okay, so like I said, I'm not gonna go for permissions, but as you can see, everything is right here. So back to SQL. So since you already have your website up, and you're just essentially moving it over to a new server, you can cheat and basically just make the same user that WordPress is expecting, and that way you don't have any database issues. Now I'm not going to show you my database passwords and other credentials, so I'm going to pause the video really quick. Alright, so I just put my credentials in there, and basically the only thing I have to do now on my other screen is I need to change my DNS information. Why? Well, that's pretty simple. If you're on a new server, the rest of the world will not know where your website has moved to unless you update your DNS information. So ping the fifthdown.org. And as you can see right there, this is not correct. Well, I should say, as you can see, that's not correct. That is actually the old, that's actually the old IP address, so it does take a second to propagate. I didn't realize I had the video on pause here, but it's still there. So we're just going to give this some more time, and I'll come back when we're ready. Alright, and there you go. This is not my new host. So now if everything went correctly and I did this properly, it should just work. Let's see what happens. And learn how to spell again. Okay, so that's the problem. Alright, I'm back. Nothing like a demo fail to make you look at all your steps. So basically, I cheated a little bit and I got it to work, but there it is. So the problem I was having before, for those of you that are interested, is I was basically copy and pasting the SQL statements, and I had written a blog post about this, which I'll actually put the description in, put the article in the description here. And I had some pseudocode on here, so just some random stuff like random usernames and databases and things of the sort, and that was what was causing the problem. It took me a little bit to track it down, but there you go. This is now running completely on my new host. As you can see, everything works. If I hit play, the file starts play, and everything is good. Anyway, guys, sorry for the bit of screwed up video. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this, but I've had enough problems trying to do this. I decided I should pay it forward and maybe give some of you guys out there a bit of help with this. This is Ryan. Thanks.